And then y'all are going to get on the expressway.
Yeah, we finna get on the expressway on Airways.
Okay. But when this is Airways, let me see.
It is Airways.
Okay. What happens once y'all get to Airways?
We at the light. Y'all finna come clean across the light.
How'd y'all know it was Dolph?
Everybody knows, how Kai on T cars and stuff.
Yeah. People in Memphis knew about that rap, right?
Yeah.
That camouflage white and green and blue rap. That surprised you? See him like that?
Yeah.
Did you say anything or did Justin say anything?
You like, there go Dolph right now.
All right, what'd y'all do?
You can see the trailer. See the trailer.
So y'all are following him on Airways?
Yeah, right over the shirt.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder as charged in count 1 of the indictment. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of first-degree murder as charged in count 2 of the indictment. And we, the jury, find the defendant guilty of convicted felon in possession of a firearm as charged in count 3 of the indictment.
Mr. Johnson, the jury having found you guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, and convicted felon in possession of a firearm. As the 13th juror, I affirm this verdict. As to the first-degree murder, I sentence you to life in prison. I will set punishment as to the conspiracy and the convicted felon in possession of a firearm after a sentencing hearing.
The clip that shook the whole internet didn't even last 10 seconds, but it was enough to freeze every Dolph supporter in their tracks. A voice in that recording bragged about being one of the guys involved in the hit. Calm, cool, like he wasn't talking about the loss of one of Memphis's most respected names. And when people realized the voice belonged to someone tied to the original set of suspects, everything exploded again. Because the moment he opened his mouth, he didn't just admit his part. He hinted that this act didn't start with him, that bigger figures were pulling the strings. And even though no judge has confirmed these claims, the fact he said them out loud brought the entire situation right back into the spotlight. The streets remember that day far too clearly. November 17th, 2021, middle of the afternoon. Young Dolph walked into Makita's for cookies, something he always did whenever he touched the city. No entourage, no cameras, just a normal day. Within seconds, it became one of the darkest moments in Memphis history. A white Mercedes pulled up. Doors swung open, 2 masked men stepped out and let off round after round with zero hesitation. 22 shots. That number turned into a wound for the whole community. Dolph wasn't just an artist. He represented independence. He represented someone who refused to fold, someone who built his world without leaning on anybody. That's why the city reacted the way it did. It felt personal. It felt heavy. It felt like someone hit the heart of Memphis itself. Police moved fast, but even early on, most people who understand how the streets operate knew the men arrested were only one layer. 4 names popped up quickly: Justin Straight Drop Johnson, Cornelius Smith, Hernandez Govan, and Jamarcus Johnson. Prosecutors painted Straight Drop and Smith as the shooters, with Govan as the planner and Jamarcus as the person who helped them after the act. But even as the courtroom filled with evidence, whispers in Memphis kept pointing higher. Because nothing about this killing felt random. It felt arranged. To understand why so many folks suspected deeper connections, you have to understand the long storm between young Dolph and Yo Gotti. This wasn't a simple disagreement. This was years of tension, pride, and disrespect. Long before bullets ever flew, the pressure had been building. Back in 2014, Dolph started blowing up in Memphis. Yo Gotti allegedly tried to sign him, but Dolph wasn't built to serve under anyone else's plan. He was independent to the core. Saying no to a powerful figure in the city sparked quiet friction that soon went public. Whether that was true or just Dolph's view, that tweet marked a turning point. Things got louder when Dolph dropped King of Memphis, a title Gotti had used for years, and then Dolph took it further. He released a track that mocked Gotti, included references to Gotti's personal life, and set the entire city on fire. After that, every song, every interview, every sign of disrespect added another layer. Memphis is a city where pride matters, where reputations matter, where certain insults don't disappear. And when real street figures surround both camps, the smallest spark can turn into something much bigger. That's why when Dolph survived a round of bullets in Charlotte again in 2017, over 100 shots fired at his SUV, people saw the writing on the wall. He only survived thanks to a bulletproof truck. Months later, he got hit again in Los Angeles. He survived that too, but everybody knew this wasn't ordinary tension. This was a powder keg waiting for the next strike. When prosecutors opened the case for Dolph's murder, Straight Drop became the centerpiece. He sat in that courtroom facing life. Evidence stacked high, surveillance footage, phone records, ballistics. But the real shock arrived when Cornelius Smith flipped and began talking. Smith's testimony rattled the city. He said the plan wasn't born with him. He said it didn't even start with Straight Drop. He claimed that the order came from Anthony Big Juke Mims, Yo Gotti's older brother. According to Smith, Big Juke offered a six-figure payout to take Dolph out. He claimed meetings happened. He claimed instructions were given. He claimed he and Straight Drop reported back through FaceTime after the act. And he claimed someone connected to CMG even helped cover legal fees. None of this was confirmed by the judge. None of this was proven through paperwork. This was Smith's testimony, his words, his version, his attempt to lessen the time he'd face behind bars. Still, it didn't stop the conversations. When a man tied to the act names someone that close to Yo Gotti, the rumors catch fire instantly. And Memphis ran with it. But the defense came back hard. They said Smith had every reason to lie. They said he wrote letters admitting he'd say anything for a deal. They pointed out how he claimed he was supposed to receive $40,000, but only got $800. They said no one organizing a six-figure plan would drop pocket change on the shooters. They argued the story didn't add up. Even with the confusion, the jury returned guilty on everything for Straight Drop: first-degree murder, conspiracy, possession of a weapon, life behind bars. A number that means he'll leave prison old, if he ever leaves. Yet the verdict didn't close the case for the streets. Instead, it opened more questions. Because while Straight Drop was locked up for good, the person Smith blamed, Big Juke, was no longer alive to defend himself. He was taken out in January 2024 during a repass event. Right there, in front of people, someone decided he wouldn't live long enough to speak on anything. That left an empty seat in the story. A missing piece. And that silence created more theories than answers. There's also Hernandez Govin, the man prosecutors said planned everything. He maintained his innocence. And by 2025, a jury found him not guilty. His acquittal raised even more eyebrows. If the planner is innocent and the alleged mastermind is dead, then who really organized this? And why? You can't talk about any Memphis conflict without mentioning Black Youngsta. His name has been connected to past tension between Dolph and CMG, especially after that 2017 Charlotte situation. Even though he beat those charges, his name gets brought up by fans every time the Dolph case resurfaces. But legally, he's not tied to any part of the 2021 killing. Rumors and fan theories keep him in the conversation, but there's no evidence from the court connecting him to the act. This ordeal exposed something bigger than one case. It exposed how easily rap disagreements can cross into street conditions. How fast an insult becomes motive. How an old rivalry becomes fuel. How fans cheering for beef don't think about the bodies that fall when the music stops. People root for these conflicts like sports games. New diss track? Everyone streams it. A sneaky jab on Instagram? Everybody reposts it. But when real consequences hit, families lose sons, children lose fathers, mothers bury kids, the same fans go quiet. Young Dolph wasn't just a rapper trying to make noise. He owned properties across Memphis. He handed out Thanksgiving meals every year. He gave out jobs, paid rent, covered bills for families he didn't even know personally. He represented something bigger than music. That's why his passing hit so differently. But even with Straight Drop's conviction, even with Smith's cooperation, even with Govin's acquittal, the puzzle is still missing pieces, because Smith's claims point upward, and Govin's freedom raises doubts, and Big Juke's death leaves a hole in the story that might never be filled. Did he act alone? Did he act at all? Did he operate without telling his younger brother? Or was he carrying out something larger? Without evidence, those are questions nobody can answer, no matter how loud social media debates them. The only confirmed truth is this: Dolph is gone. A city lost one of its strongest voices. His family lost a provider. His kids lost their father. Paper Road Empire lost its foundation. The people involved in his murder lost their freedom. And Memphis lost another chance at peace. When you strip away all the rumors, all the courtroom drama, all the theories, you're left with consequences that can't be undone. Dolph won't walk through Makita's again. Big Juke won't clear his name. Straight Drop won't taste freedom for decades. Families on both sides will live with the fallout forever. And for what? A long feud, bruised pride, street egos wrapped in music careers, all the things fans hype for entertainment, never realizing the hit songs often hide real danger behind them. Young Dolph believed in building something from nothing. He believed in showing young men they didn't need to depend on labels or gatekeepers. He believed in owning your work, owning your life, and owning your choices. And even in his absence, that message still stands. What happened to him is a reminder of how thin the line is between success and danger, how quickly a man with power, influence, and love from his city can become a target, and how even when the court closes a case, the truth behind it might still be locked away forever. Because until someone with answers speaks and survives long enough to finish the conversation, Dolph's story will always feel unfinished.